Hello and welcome. I'm Lisa Davies and you're on the 7-day self-love program. This is day 1, video 1, and before we get into any of the tasks, I just want to go through with you a little bit about my story, and I'm sure there's going to be bits in there that are going to resonate for you, and we all have our own unique journey, but sometimes it's really useful to understand where someone has come from and where they are today. So essentially I've probably had a lack of self-love for most of my life, not if all of my life, early childhood. But the things that kind of really come up for me is mainly in my teenage years. I guess you become quite aware of yourself and how you're perceived and your attractiveness, and so that's where it kind of all starts kicking in. And I was suffering with a lot of depression in those years, which kind of added to the whole hating myself. So I had a big problem with myself, didn't like the way I looked, thought I was fat, and started effectively my bulimic strategy started in those early years, around about sort of age 13. And because I was working really hard on my depression myself, I wasn't really getting much support from people. I had done quite a bit of work, and there was one particular incident that happened when I was on a New Year break with my family, and happened to see my reflection in the balloon, and stood there for a while in like the metallic sheen of the balloon, stood there for a while just actually being able to accept looking at myself, not necessarily admiring myself, posing or anything like that, but literally had that acceptance of, I can actually look in the mirror. And I had a stranger who saw me doing this. We're talking about a few seconds, and he turned around to me and said, "You are so vain." And it's one of those moments, and I'm sure you've got a moment as well, that kind of really cut deep into me, basically telling me I could not accept myself. I couldn't look in the mirror. I couldn't look at myself, and vanity was bad. And even just going along the journey of building my acceptance and self-love in particular was just not acceptable. And so that really kind of pushed things back, and I put a brave face on it, but it effectively affected me for a long time after. And it wasn't long after that I found myself in an abusive relationship, and I'm sure most of you have been in one of those before too. And again, it's all about having enough respect for yourself to see that once your boundaries have been violated, to just say, this isn't for me. I honour myself enough to move out. And it took a long time for that to happen, as well as after that attracting quite a lot of bad men. I also spent quite a lot of years, even though I'd lost weight and got to a point that was absolutely reasonable, that I told myself that I was fat. All through my 20s, early 20s, I told myself how fat I was. I looked at myself, I saw fat. That's how I felt, very negative towards my body. And I look back now and realise how much I created myself today, how I have been in more recent years. I invested a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of negative energy into this person, this body that I came to have. So then I had my first child, and she was really beautiful, and I had a lot of people saying to me that she was very beautiful, and it was a massive conflict for me because I didn't feel that about myself. And then by the time I had my second child come along, and again getting all the compliments about her, there was a big conflict going on inside of me. I couldn't believe someone who, I loathed myself. I thought it was ugly. I really hated myself. No pictures. I'd cut up all pictures of myself. Pictures weren't allowed to be taken of me. I was really strict on that. And I started having problems in my uterus, and I really got clear, because of my training in neuro-linguistic programming, that the conflict was at an emotional level, and its timing was perfect to be a real indicator to me. And I had to do some work on myself at that point, but as I was quite goal orientated, I managed to bring my health round and go on to have a third child and a fourth. Now, in that particular journey, it was also interesting to know that, having dealt with some of the issues that I had, that my third child and my third daughter actually taught me some lessons about her. She showed me what worthiness was. She really believed that she was worthy in the way that she behaved. She taught me how to breastfeed, because I realised, children have a lot better instincts than us. But I realised there was a lot more to learn. And then by the time I had my son, I really got clear on the fact that he believed he was totally worthy. He believed that he wanted an easy life, something I'd been working on for quite some time. And he wanted to be in a world where he was totally loved. So he came into a family with 3 sisters and a mum as well. So all these things have kind of taught me a lot about self-love. So that's a little bit about my history, and I'm sure you've all got a story. I'd love to hear what your key moments are in your life in terms of affecting you and making you feel unattractive, hating yourself, unsuccessful. What are the other areas in your life that have made you dislike yourself, and how many of you actually said, I hate myself? Because I'm sure that's quite common too. So I really want to make a distinction about acceptance and self-love. They are very different things. So acceptance is about saying, I accept who I am, I accept what my flaws are, I accept what my body is and how I created it, and it's kind of neutral ground, but there's probably still a certain amount of resistance, and it can kind of be a pretend self-love. But you may think, I accept who I am, that's okay, and it's kind of like, it is pretty neutral ground. Self-love is a lot different. It's a lot more powerful, and it's about you love yourself. You absolutely do love yourself. You look in the mirror and you believe you are beautiful. You genuinely believe that in your heart. You can see your beauty. You look for everything that is great about you. And there's an element about focusing on the body, but you look at your legs, your feet, your ears, your breasts, your stomach, whatever it is. You can look at that part of your body and say, yeah, I love that part of myself. And it's, for some people that can be quite bizarre, and around looking at parts of the body that doesn't fit into what we socially think is acceptable around, should this stomach be like this, and should this bottom be like this, and these hips and these breasts, and I don't fit into beauty standards of what is beautiful. But when I look at my stomach, or in particular if I touch my stomach, I'm more about a feel person. What do things feel like about me? It's about the fact I can feel my little tummy. So I accept the fact that I'm not a size 8, but I talk about it in a really positive way, in an enforcing way. And yes, I accept it, but I also kind of love it as well, and I have curiosity about it. And that's quite a different thing. And it's the same with your mind, in terms of, why am I like this, why am I doing this, why am I doing this behavior, becomes a lot more about enjoying the whole process, about the whole path of discovery. And that's kind of the big difference between acceptance and self-love. Acceptance is, I accept where I am. Self-love is about, I love who you are, and who are we going to become next. And we're quite happy wherever we are, and we enjoy every moment. And I certainly knew that I had self-love when I was waking up in the morning and was just putting my hands over my body, as you kind of move and sweep over as you do in the morning, and going, I love my body, it's so delicious. And I even surprised myself in a way that I got to that kind of point. That was amazing. So that is kind of the difference. So for today, what are your tasks? Well, You're going to want a pen and paper, and this is going to be something you might want to have a separate journal for this, but you're going to write down some specific questions and you're going to take some time to answer them. And the first task that you're going to do is you're going to rate where you are at now. So where are you on the self-love scale? So 10 is 10 out of 10. I have total self-love for myself, and 0 is I have no love for myself at all. So you're going to rate where you are at the beginning of this process. And then you're also going to write this question down. How will you know you love yourself? And you really want to think about what that answer is. And you may want to mull on it. You may want to come back and answer that, having had a few hours to think about that. But you want to be absolutely sure that you know how you will love yourself. What is the evidence? So then the next question is, what will the proof look like? So what is the evidence there? What will it look like? What will it feel like? What will it sound like? And if there's anything else kind of like that goes on there, are there any smells? Are there any other senses going on? Is there any experiences that you will have? So kind of jot them down, whether it's kind of like a movie that you expect to be playing out in terms of going out one evening, and the frame of mind and how you go from getting ready and dressed to going out, or whether you're going to go into presentation or you're going to go and pitch something, the level of confidence that you have, and failure doesn't enter your mind. So it could be whether it's the mind or the body or both. Just think about what that evidence will be. Now, the other thing that you're going to do is ask yourself this question. Now, this is a really big question, because what happens is as soon as you ask this question, your unconscious mind starts getting to work straight away, and you already start to love yourself because you've asked this question, okay? And that is, how can I love myself? So you ask yourself, how can I love myself? If you say it out loud, that's also good. You can say it internally, write it down, and you may come up with some ideas. So this is about how you as an individual can love yourself, because that will be quite an individual and unique journey for you. I'm going to take you through some of the things that I've done over the course of the week, and I've also designed some hypnosis tracks especially for you, coming from my journey and what I believe will be useful for you. But you're going to get some stuff unique from you, from your own mind, so download that. Now, the most important thing about anything you want to achieve in your life is about having that goal, taking action towards it, okay? So doing this 7-day program is the biggest thing that you could be doing to get that self-love. The mere fact that you do the program, you follow all of the tasks, and you listen to the tracks and you do the techniques, that is going to set you up for putting in place self-love, because you're pretty much telling yourself this is going to happen, okay? How long it will take you to get to the place that I'm at, I don't know. That could vary. I'm sure you're going to have dramatic results in 7 days, because I've concentrated a lot in here. So something that I really want you to be aware of as well is you can never change your body until you have love for yourself. So there's lots of people out there that go onto gym kind of programs, weight loss programs, diets, and they're all like, if I change my body, or they're going to have cosmetic surgery, if I change my body, if I change my face, if I change my nose, my breasts, my buttocks, my lips, whatever it is, then I will love myself. Then that will be okay. Well, you won't, because it's not there in the first place. But the other thing is, you're also always going to have a constant battle. So if you're managing your weight and you're not doing it from a place of love, and you're doing it to conform, you're doing it because it's supposed to be unhealthy, or whatever the triggers are, it's going to be a constant battle for you. So you may achieve your results and you may achieve your goals outwardly, but you are always going to be fighting. That requires a lot of energy, and you're going to have massive resistance all the way along, okay? So if you don't have love, anything you do that's like really positive goal, you're going to have resistance. It's going to be really hard, really exhausting. This is the easy way. You put self-love in first, which sounds really hard. If you really hate your body, you think, oh, how on earth am I going to love my body? But trust me, love your body, love your mind, love everything about you, love your soul, love who you are, love your past. Then you can go on to achieve whatever you want, because it will be so easy. You've taken away a mass of resistance. So that's something I really want you to bear in mind. The other really important factor here is failure to invest in yourself is a strong message that you don't love yourself, okay? So that could be, are you investing in the right food and the right nutrition, whether that's supplements or in other areas, about the clothing, about any mentors that you have, the exercise that you do, or any training. So even if, you're investing in training programs about your mind, about education, about development, personal development, if you're not investing in anything at all, that's a really strong message. But you'll also notice, where do I invest in? I invest in not over here, but not so much over there. Then you can tell where you lack self-love for yourself. So you can have quite a lot of lopsided love, okay? So you can have love and honour for yourself in one key area. So it may be a spiritual area, personal development. It may be about the relationships that you hold. It may be that you do everything for your career because that gives you wealth and that gives you value and worth. It may be that you take lots of action and lots of investment around your body, and you've got a great body and you can invest in that, but you've got a real problem with the mind and you're forever putting yourself down, saying that you're a failure, saying that you're not good enough, and you don't have love for yourself in that particular area. So you can have it in one area and not in another. And the point of this program across the week is you're really going to find having self-love a much whole place, about wholeness, about integration, about it all being there, so that when you make moves, there isn't one thing that falls over because you haven't all got it in place. So go through the tasks today, enjoy them, post on the Facebook group what's coming up for you, for what you'd like to share, what your story has been so far. I'd love to find out more about you. That would be absolutely fantastic. And then for the following kind of days, we're going to have some really lovely hypnosis tracks for you, and some techniques as well as some tips on some of the things that I did as well. But for today, it's very much about understanding where you're at and what it is that you need to do for your unique journey as well. So in that, how can I love myself? If stuff's coming up, it'd be lovely to hear on Facebook what it is that's coming up for you, what are some of the actions that you could take, or what it is that's going to make a big difference to you. Bye for now, and I'll see you on day 2.